Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bill Levinson, managing partner with Levinson and Associates. With us today, we have Joseph Loughran, our marketing vice president, and then we have our special guest speaker, Joe Ross. So just a few things I'm going to mention before we dive in here. This is a very special training webinar that we put together with Joe Ross, and very excited to present this to our agents. And I'm gonna just give you a 100-foot overview, and then we're gonna move pretty quickly because I don't want to take away any valuable time from our main presenter, Joe Ross, here today. So just real quick, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and a great holiday season so far. Now, the reason why we're so excited about today's webinar and this three-part training series is we all know, especially me growing up in the industry and being around life insurance since I was literally, since I remember how to literally walk, we always think of these company VPs and that they're these, real big shots and they know the industry inside and out, and they're almost like kind of like the president of our country, if you will. But they run insurance companies, or let's say the marketing side of an insurance company. And, that was kind of my image of a carrier VP or these carrier reps, so to speak. And, and as I grew up in the industry and I started working with my father at literally 19 years old, I realized that, yes, some of the carrier VPs are sharp as a tack and you can learn a lot, but for the most part, they're just like you and me. They're real people, and yes, they're few and far between. There's some that you really latch onto and you can look up to and almost look at these VPs as a mentor, so to speak. And as a kid, I thought they were all like this. And as I met a lot of these people and grew up in the industry, I realized that, they really weren't what they were so hyped up to be. I hate to say that, but that's really the truth. And if you've been around that side of the industry, I think you can attest to that. So the reason why I'm discussing this is Joe Ross is one of these guys. Now, he was specifically brought on to do training, advanced case design, and speak at NALBA and expos around the country. In my opinion, okay, I don't care, VP, MVP, whatever you want to call these certain designations at the carrier, Joe Ross has his own designation. The man, in my opinion, is one of the best. There's only two or three that I put in this category. He is one of the best presenters and trainers that I have ever heard in my 22 years in the industry. Okay, so I think, and after you listen to him present, I think that you will agree with me, and I will put that promise in writing. And I'll just say this real quick, he was nice enough to put together a three-part training series specifically for Levinson agents. So this is the first of three. If you're looking at the slide in front of you, if you want to jot down some of these notes, session number 1 is today. That's what we're all part of right now. And he's going to talk about life insurance you don't have to die to use. Number 2 is right after Valentine's Day, life insurance strategies in a changing tax environment. Okay, very, very important, especially with some of these upcoming changes in early 2018. Session 3 is what I'm most excited about. So Joe is going to speak live at our annual Agent Expo here in South Florida. So make sure you register. April 27th, 2018, we have the Levinson Annual Agent Expo. Joe's going to be one of our keynote speakers. He's going to talk all about unleashing the power of Index UL. And, what I love about Joe, first of all, he's a great, great storyteller, okay? And that's very important when you're talking about life insurance training in general. Number two, these topics, yes, they're important. It kind of gives him an avenue and a way to tap into the presentation, but he's not going to talk just about, unleashing the power of IUL. He's going to give you ideas, sales concepts you can write down, and you can start using some of these stories or ideas right after the presentations to make more sales, okay? To change the way that you have sold and that you sell ending 2017 and moving into the new year. So these are so important. And I'm gonna just say this, and then we'll introduce Joseph Loughran. But I want to add this part here. It's so important, and I don't care what part of the insurance industry you're in. If you're an agent, if you're at the carrier level, it doesn't make a difference. Okay, we all need that little extra motivation. Okay, I don't care if it's a religious thing for you, church or temple, Christmas, Hanukkah, if it's motivational CDs or audible audio books, or if it's listening to one of the industry's top presenters and trainers. If that's the part of it. We have to keep this stuff fresh and at the top of mind, or else you're going to forget. It's like everything else. Okay, this is kind of like your continuing education to be successful in this industry. So you must take the time, especially, this is all free for Levinson agents, take the time, listen, learn, write down notes, use all of this information, stay motivated, have that right positive mindset, and your business will change for the better. I guarantee it. So we have purposely put all of this great stuff together for you. Now it's your turn to take advantage and run with some of these great ideas. Joseph Loughran's going to talk about some of the new changes and updates here at Levinson. We have a few more slides, and then we'll introduce our feature presenter. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So like you had mentioned, a great way to kind of stay in touch and continuously be motivated and to grow your practice is to absolutely check out on a daily basis our website, which is designed for the agent's back office. Again, it's kerrylevinson.com. One new update, this is actually live just as of this morning. We actually have a new focus library. So these are different articles where Bill was actually featured in Insurance Newsnet. They go all the way back to May of 2017. You'll see there's pretty much an article for every single month all the way through the end of this year, an upcoming one for December 2017. So these are some great articles that actually help you focus on the industry and explore different topics, whether it's using a new hybrid CRM tool or actually kind of changing some of your marketing to have a more online social presence. These are great articles that are all part of that focus category that really help you hone in and kind of really grow your business. So again, we will send out a link at the end of today's call so you can actually go and read every single one of those articles. They are available on the website as of this afternoon. So literally, as soon as we're done with the webinar, you can go right to kerrylevinson.com and check out every single one of those focus articles. And you can also find them in that Insurance Newsnet magazine. Another great thing I want to mention here, we do have a webinar coming up on December 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern. We actually are rolling out a very special end of the year lead program special. So this is going to be available for first-time lead program users. We've been running our mortgage lead program for a little over 5 years now. And Bill will tell you, and even in our last webinar on the mortgage lead program, we're averaging on an annual basis over $1 million in lead sales. We, of course, don't make any money on the lead program. We pass through the cost to every agent that's using it. So we wanted to put together a year-end special for those agents that haven't taken advantage of that lead program. Again, available to first-time lead program users. The normal minimum order is going to be 14 leads. It's being lowered to 10. The lead cost is $18 a lead. You do get a free lead included in every single order. You can order week to week. There's no minimum dollar amount you've got to spend, or you don't have to deposit $500, $600, $700. You can use this program pretty much a la carte week to week to see if it's something you want to use. We also are throwing in, this is very neat, if you use that lead program and take advantage of that minimum 10 lead order plus that one freebie, and you write any of those leads before the end of 2017, we're going to send you a tablet for participating in that lead program. So a really, really great way to test out that lead program. Again, we've been running for about 5-6 years now and seen some awesome results. So it's a way to kind of get your foot in the door and test out that lead program without having to spend the normal minimal cost and order 14 leads. So just a great way to kind of dive into that program. And Bill's going to talk about a new lead program that's coming in 2018.
Thanks, Joe. So as we all know, when you first have a conversation with a brand new agent, the first question that comes up is leads. Right behind that is commissions, as we all know. Okay, well, we have both of those bases covered. And what we did is we put together a brand new exclusive lead program that's going to roll out in January. So we still have the mortgage protection program Joe just went over. And this is the brand new, this is mortgage protection or final expense leads. You can choose whichever batch you would like to order that week. These are 100% exclusive. And this vendor, who happens to be a friend of mine who owns the company, they sell to AIG Direct, they sell to Gerber Life Direct, some of the big names that we've all heard of, and we were able to put together an exclusive deal just for our agents. So we're going to roll this out come January. And what I love about this program, so you can pick and choose between mortgage protection or final expense. The pricing and everything is below minimum order of $15, $17, and then one free lead. And every single agent will have their own portal that they can log into, place all the ordering. Everything is done online, so you have your own personal dashboard to keep track of everything. So I promise, and I'll stand behind this, just like today's training, this is definitely worth giving a shot in 2018. Try it once, see how it goes. If you like it, great. If you don't, we move forward, no obligation. That's the end of it, but definitely worth looking into for next year. Okay, so real quick, we're going to give away also at the end of today's call 2 free tablets, and we'll announce the winners at the end. Number 250 and 350th registrant will get those free tablets, and we'll make those announcements at the end of the call, and we'll list the names on our Levinson Facebook page. So just keep your eyes open for that. Okay, brand new. This is the industry's first, life insurance annuity fully functioning app. That's a free download for any Android or Apple device. We have just launched this. It looks awesome. Now, this is so cool because you can now, let's say you're at your son or daughter's basketball game and you meet one of the parents in the stands. You say, hey, what do you do? What do you do? I'm a life insurance agent. You can literally run a quote, run an underwriting assessment, sign up that client online in less than 5 minutes, hit send, you are done. You walk away, you just made a sale from head to toe. So everybody should have the new Levinson mobile app, again, available for Android and iPhone users and tablets as well. So make sure you download that free app today. Okay, now our promise to the Levinson field force is we're always going to make things bigger and better and more valuable to help increase your sales, right? That's the name of the game. So we had our existing TAC IUL software program, which is very good, but in my opinion, it could be a lot better and a lot more user-friendly. So we have put together a deal with a third-party company that this is the only carrier-approved IUL presentation software available today. And my promise to you, once again, that's 3 promises on today's call. You will take a look at this and you will see the proof in the pudding and get signed up with the Levinson IUL software program. It is awesome. Everything is built in one package. We even have seminar PowerPoints. We have invitations for seminars. We have their full one-page presentations that basically takes an IUL illustration and sums it up into 6 easy-to-read slides and answers, one-liners basically, for all prospects. So by the time you're done presenting the IUL, it sums it up, in one easy to understand slide. Your clients will say yes every time we do comparisons against IRA, 401k, other investment products, and it clearly shows IUL is a winner. This also goes great with Joe Ross's keynote at the Levinson Expo. So this all kind of works together as one. And if you've never sold IUL, this is a great opportunity to jump in. If you've sold IUL before, this will take your IUL business to the next level. So keep your eyes open for the brand new IUL software rolling out January 2018 as well. Okay, Joe's going to talk about Agency Automator so you can get your 1,000 leads monthly, and then we're going to introduce our feature presenter today.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, if you're not using the Agency Automator platform, it's definitely something I highly recommend using. Like Bill mentioned, coming January 2018, we're rolling out version 2.0, which not only gives you access to the CRM platform so you can track all of your clients, stay in touch, not miss any sales opportunities, but like Bill said, you can also go in, plug in some criteria, a certain mile radius from your office, even clients' age, income, occupation, even if they own a home, and you can actually generate 1,000 leads every single month. And then you choose from our database of different email campaigns. There are thousands in there, anything from IUL to a whole life, disability insurance, critical illness, long-term care, any product you can think of. There is a template for you to use and get the word out and keep your name in front of the client. Coming January 2018, that virtual assistant is actually a live person who you can put together a marketing plan with and say, send out an email campaign to people within these counties that meet this criteria, that have X amount of income and have X amount of net worth. They will do all that marketing for you in the background. They'll even make outbound phone calls and set up appointments for you. So we're very excited for 2.0. Again, that's coming in January 2018. So if you're not using Automator, I definitely recommend getting in on the ground floor, kind of getting comfortable with it so that when 2.0 comes out, you'll already be ahead of the game, be able to use that virtual assistant and really kick off sales for the new year.
Okay, good stuff, Joe. Thank you. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce our feature presenter who's here to talk about the new kind of life insurance that pays while you're still alive. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend and one of the best presenters in the industry, Joe Ross.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Joe, and also thanks to your mentor, Carrie, who I've been associated with in the life insurance industry all the way back to 1990, and what a fantastic relationship I've enjoyed with the Levinson team for the last 27 years. And this is just another opportunity to showcase why our relationship has worked so well. Today we're talking about life insurance you don't have to die to use, and we are going to use this topic to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to talk about how you can give purpose to permanent life insurance. This is a story you can talk about on the back of a cocktail napkin that can help you turn more term insurance sales into permanent insurance sales, because we are going to turn life insurance from an expense into an asset for your clients. Secondly, we're going to revolutionize the life insurance industry. I'm going to show you how the product package that we're talking about today completely changes the way your clients think about life insurance, because we will turn it from an expense into an asset. And that completely changes the way you talk about life insurance with your clients. It will turn into a product they want to own. And then lastly, because of the way this package works, I'll explain, as we described in the invitation, why you will never have to guarantee your death benefit beyond age 100 ever again. So this is a power pack story. I'm going to try to do it in as little time as possible and then turn the ball back over to the Levinson team to talk about some things on the back end and some prizes that they've made available as well. So with that as our backdrop, let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in. So what we're talking about is American General Life revolutionizing why people buy life insurance and how life insurance is sold. Today is your opportunity to become a part of this next generation of life insurance. And how does that work? So what we're going to talk about is how AIG, or American General Life, has revolutionized the life insurance industry by just talking about how your clients can now turn illiquid life insurance death benefits into a liquid pool of money, and they can spend it on virtually anything they want. This is a game-changing concept so that they can achieve a higher sense of financial security more during retirement than any other time. In fact, one of our acronyms that we like to talk about at AIG is BYOB, Now, most of you are probably smiling when you hear that acronym. You're thinking about either last weekend or this coming weekend. But at AIG, we've given BYOB a new definition. That acronym in our office stands for Be Your Own Beneficiary. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how life insurance can benefit your family when they need it most. But once your children have grown up and moved out of the house and now you're retired, you can become the beneficiary of your own life insurance policy while you're still alive. And I can guarantee you that if you don't die prematurely, we can put your entire death benefit in your checking account where you can spend it on virtually anything you want while you're still alive. Now that's a powerful statement. I'm going to say that one again, and if you might even want to jot that one down, because I'm telling you, when you recite this phrase to your clients, you will get their attention. When you say, I'm going to talk about a life insurance policy where if you don't die early, and how many people actually think they're going to die early? That's right, very few, if any. If you don't die early, you will be able to put your entire death benefit in your checking account and spend it on virtually anything you want while you're still alive. People will be amazed and they'll want to know how it works. And that's what we're going to talk about today. First, I want to talk about how we give purpose to permanent life insurance. And for that, I use another cocktail napkin sales concept. You could draw this out on a legal pad or a cocktail napkin or a white marker board. It's a very simple story, but it gives your client an understanding as to why term insurance cannot be the only life insurance product they buy. So what I have here is a financial risk spectrum. This is divided into two pieces, your pre-retirement years and your post-retirement years. And if you were going out to visit with that client, you just got that hot lead, you're going out to talk to Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, they've got a couple of kids under their roof, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to be telling Mr. and Mrs. Johnson they need some life insurance. And they're going to wonder, why do they need life insurance? What will life insurance do for us? And you'll tell them that if either of you parents dies early, you want to make sure that these three things get paid for. I call them the big three. What are the big three? What are the three things parents want to make sure get paid for if one of the parents dies prematurely and they still have kids under their roof? You know what they are. The first one is we want to make sure the kids can go to college. Secondly, we want to pay off the mortgage so that they can stay in that house. And thirdly, we want to be able to replace that deceased parent's income so that the family can continue enjoying the lifestyle that they've become accustomed to. Okay, I call those the big three. But intentionally, I've created this diagram so that all three of them are sloping downward to the right. And that's intentional because what's happening to the size of those risks as time passes by? Well, by the time you reach 65 or 70 and it's time to retire, it's likely that your kids have already gone to college. So you don't need death benefits to pay for the kids to go to college if you die after 65 or 70. Secondly, your mortgage has been paid down, if not paid off, so that's getting smaller over time. And think about the income you're replacing. By the time you retire, you have no more work income to replace. So all three of those theoretically are essentially gone by the So when you go out to Mr. and Mrs. Johnson's house and say, you need life insurance because you want to make sure your kids can go to college, you want to be sure they can stay in that house, and you want to make sure they can continue to enjoy the lifestyle they've become accustomed to, well, okay, but by the time I'm retired, those three risks are pretty much gone. So I guess all I need is a 20 or 30-year term insurance policy, right? Something that'll carry me to age 65 or 70, and then that'll be that. And that's what many clients think, and unfortunately, that's what many agents think too. And in many cases, I've asked large audiences of agents, how many of you believe your clients should own permanent life insurance so that they have death benefits during their retirement years? Most agents in the room raise their hand. They all believe their clients should own permanent life insurance. But then when I ask them why do your clients need permanent life insurance? Why do they need a death benefit after they're retired? Generally speaking, the room is full of crickets. Nobody knows a good answer. And I think that's kind of amazing that many of us have this tremendous story for why you need life insurance in your pre-retirement years, but we have never been provided a good story as to why people need permanent life insurance in their later years. Let's talk about three other risks that get larger over time, and essentially they start at the time you retire. The first one is the financial risks that you face. And this is a basket full of things. It's financial risks like the stock market. We all know, we've heard about those things called Monte Carlo simulations. And those Monte Carlo simulations have shown us that when you're retired and living off your portfolio, if you have an adverse stock market correction during your distribution, it can be devastating to your portfolio. So one big financial risk is stock market corrections. But there are other financial risks that go along with it, like housing expenses. You know, a lot of people go into retirement and we think about food, shelter, and clothing, but we don't think about things like replacing furnaces, air conditioners, water heaters, roofs, flooring, windows. If you live in the same house for more than 20 years, it's very likely that you're going to replace at least one, if not many of those. I'm a living, breathing example of that. My house is only 17 years old. I've replaced all 5: flooring, roof, heater, air conditioner, and water heater. But that's no big deal because that only cost me, I don't know, $45,000 or $50,000. And most retirees, they have an extra 40 or 50 grand just laying around, don't they? Not true. So the first set of risks are these financial risks. And the reason they're getting larger and larger over time is because the longer they live in that house, the more likely it is they're going to incur these significant expenses. And the longer they're alive, the more likely it is they will incur one of these adverse market corrections that will virtually destroy their portfolio. So that's one group of risks that they need protection against. The second group of risks that they face is healthcare costs. And we all know healthcare costs gets more and more expensive over time, not only because of the pure cost of healthcare, but also because of the utilization of healthcare. The older we get, the more often we go to the doctor. The older we get, the more medications we take. All of those things add up. In fact, the common statistics available today are suggesting that a 65-year-old couple is going to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 in out-of-pocket expenses on their health care. And that number does not include nursing home expenses. Nursing home costs is on top of that. $300,000 in out-of-pocket expenses for healthcare costs. And the older you get, the bigger those costs become. So that one slopes upward to the right also. And the third one is Social Security income. When one spouse dies, what happens to the Social Security checks coming into that household? They reduce. They reduce dramatically. It will reduce by at least 1/3, and it could reduce by as much as 1/2, depending on the incomes that the two parents have. In my mother and father's situation, when my dad passed away nearly 5 years ago, the Social Security checks coming into my mother's mailbox went down by $15,000 a year. Now, that number is getting bigger every year because of inflation adjustments, and over a 10-year period of time, like I said, it's been 5 years. My mom has already outlived my dad by 5 years. If she outlives him by another 5, that's $150,000 missing from their Social Security benefits. So that number simply becomes bigger and bigger and bigger over time. As you explain these post-retirement risks to your client, you can then tell the story that says, just imagine, let's take myself and my wife as an example. Let's just imagine that I'm laying there on my deathbed and one of these risks has happened. We've either had a stock market correction, or I've been laying in the nursing home for a year or two where we've sent a couple of $100,000 to the nursing home, or we're anticipating the reduction in Social Security income the moment after I die. And as I look up into Mary's eyes, my number one financial concern is, will Mary be okay financially? Wouldn't it be great if I knew that within 30 days of my last breath, an income tax-free check would show up in Mary's mailbox and restore the value of the portfolio, assuring Mary of a lifetime of financial security, even if one or more of these events happened. And I can assure you, one of them will happen, if not more than one. That is the power of permanent life insurance. So the way I like to explain this diagram is to say, when you're protecting these risks on the left, you're buying life insurance for if you die. But when you're protecting against these risks on the right, you need life insurance for when you die, no matter when that might be. Term insurance cannot be relied upon to be there when you die in your 80s or 90s, and these risks still exist for the surviving spouse. Hopefully this simple story gives you a story you can tell on something as small as a cocktail napkin or the back of your business card that will help your clients understand the power and purpose of permanent life insurance. And by telling the story on the right side of the spectrum, hopefully you can convince more of your clients to incorporate permanent life insurance into their portfolio rather than just buying term and being completely financially insecure after retirement starts because of these risks. The next simple story I want to share with you that really leads into the concept we're talking about today, life insurance you don't have to die to use. It helps solve those problems. And in this simple story, I break it into three parts. We have on the left your pre-retirement years. In the middle, we have what I call your core retirement years, from the time you retire until approximate life expectancy, which everyone agrees, generally speaking, is around age 85. And then your extended or long retirement years for those who live longer than they expected. Let's walk down this path and see what AIG has done to revolutionize the way you sell life insurance to your clients. Now, when you're under 65 years old, your clients are putting money into their 401k, they're setting money aside, trying to prepare for their retirement. And their biggest concern is that if either one of them dies prematurely, they will not finish the job. They will not have enough money in the portfolio to retire. So they're concerned about what happens if I die too soon. Who's going to take care of the kids? How are we going to finish funding the retirement portfolio? And for hundreds of years, we have solved that problem with life insurance. But then one day, your client wakes up and it's their birthday and they're blowing out 65 candles and they realize, I ain't dead yet. Does that mean all their financial concerns are over? Well, of course not. So if a client has successfully built enough retirement resources for a normal retirement, what is a retiree's number one concern that could destroy the value of that portfolio? Their number one concern from their core retirement years from 65 to 85 is typically, how do I protect those assets? And the number one thing that I'm trying to protect them against is those nursing home expenses. What happens if I get sick during my prime retirement years? And our industry has given us an answer to that problem. We now have long-term care and chronic illness riders that we can add. If our clients incur one of these impairments, either psychologically or physically, we have the ability to tap into that death benefit. And because many of these products, like AIGs, have a chronic illness rider with an indemnity-based benefit, the insured is able to spend those benefits on virtually anything they want, no receipts required. But one day you wake up, you're 85 years old, it's your birthday, you're blowing out your candles again, and you realize, well, I didn't die, and I didn't get sick. Well, if you didn't die and you didn't get sick, there's only one other thing that could possibly be happening. You're healthy and you're living longer than you ever expected. And when that happens to your client, their number one concern becomes, how do I extend my assets? What if I outlive my money? I'm going to have to move into my kid's basement. I don't want that to happen. And this is where AIG and American General Life is changing the game. We've created what we call a longevity insurance rider for those clients who face the possibility of living longer than their assets do. This is a simple story about talking to your clients about achieving financial security, whether they die too soon, live too long, or get sick along the way. And AIG is blazing the trail on how this can be done. So let's break it down and see how this happens. First of all, on the left, we have that guaranteed universal life, so that your client is guaranteed their death benefits. But then let's talk about that chronic illness rider in the middle. Oh, and by the way, this slide shows you when you run the illustration can show you exactly what this product can do for your client. So this is a graphic right off of an illustration. Now, as with any GUL illustration that has riders, it's a 30 or 40 page illustration. This page is the page that says it all. On the left, it tells your client, in this example, I ran an illustration for $1 million death benefit. And so it says if you died prematurely, your beneficiaries get $1 million on the left. In the middle, it says if you develop a chronic illness, you can access up to almost $125,000 a year for the next 8 years. That's right, $125,000 a year for the next 8 years. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And then if you didn't die and you didn't get sick, you move to the box on the right, you can access $100,000 a year starting at age 85 for 10 years. This page prints out of the illustration and shows your client exactly what financial flexibility and security you've created. How does this all work? Well, the chronic illness rider has 3 options on it. Most chronic illness riders don't have options like this. With AIG's product, you can opt for a chronic illness benefit that is up to 2% of the life insurance policy's death benefit. So if your client bought $1 million policy, 2% of that would be $20,000. Their maximum benefit would be $20,000 per month. Now, of course, that's all subject to the HIPAA per diem limit. And for those of you who are familiar with that, the current HIPAA per diem limit is around $11,000 a month. So in this scenario with this $1 million policy, you'd have access to up to $20,000 a month. But if you went on claim in 2017, we'll only send you what the HIPAA limit will allow. That would be $11,000 a month. But you're not going to go on claim right away after you buy one of these policies. It's probably going to be years down the road. And you can ride that benefit all the way up to $20,000 a month. If you go on claim 15 years from now and the per diem limit is $20,000 a month, you get $20,000 a month, whatever the HIPAA limit is at the time you go on claim. Now, if you didn't think that was enough benefit, we have a second option. You could choose to have up to 4% of your death benefit a month. This would increase your maximum cap up to $40,000 a month on that $1 million policy, or $20,000 a month on a $500,000 policy, or $10,000 a month on a $250,000 policy. You can see how the math works. But the third option is the really powerful one. This is the option no one in the industry has except AIG. We have a third option that we call our per diem option. It's designed to pay out the per diem limit with no cap. The only proviso there is that there is a functional cap, and that is that we'll pay the death benefit out over a period of 1 year. We won't pay it out over a period of less than 1 year. And what that means is your maximum monthly benefit equals your total benefit divided by 12 months. If you take your calculator and take 100% and divide it by 12, it will tell you that your benefit can be up to 8.3% a month. So with AIG, you have a 2% a month, 4% a month, or an 8.3% per month option. What I like to talk about is if you choose the 8.3% a month option, you don't have to take the entire 8.3%. And this is the beauty of what AIG has done. It gives your client the ability to make this decision at the time of claim. If you take the 8.3% option, then they could choose to take 2% a month, or 4% a month, or even 5, or 6, or 3. They can choose any benefit amount they want up to 8.3%, and they can change it every year. So when you put on the 8.3% option, you give your client a ton of inflation protection and incredible flexibility year in and year out. But where does this 8.3% option really ring home? Let me show you an example. If you were selling a case for a client with a $300,000 death benefit and you put the 2% a month option on it, they could get up to $6,000 a month. Well, the HIPAA limit's already at $11,000 a month. You might be thinking that's not enough. So you go to one of your other carriers and you get a 4% a month option. Now your client can get up to $12,000 per month, which is just a hair above the HIPAA limit. It's probably going to be below the HIPAA limit in just a few years due to inflation. But if that exact same $300,000 policy had the per diem option rider on it, then the maximum monthly benefit would be $25,000 per month. And I can assure you it's going to take a long time for that HIPAA limit to exceed $25,000 a month. Not likely to happen during your client's lifetime. So what you notice here is that when you get to death benefits below $500,000, accessing the death benefit as quickly as possible becomes really important to your clients. And there's no rider in the industry today that allows you to access that benefit as quickly as AIG does with this 8.3% per diem option. So when you take a look at overall what that rider does, first of all, it's a chronic illness rider. So it's filed as a 101G. That means no LTC license is required. Except, of course, if you're in California. If anybody on the line today is in California, you do need to have your LTC license to sell a chronic illness rider in California. Secondly, because it's chronic, it's an indemnity benefit, which means there are no receipts required. If you meet the criteria, both either physically or cognitively, we start sending you the checks, no receipts necessary. We have up to an 8.3% option. Again, that's everywhere except California. California only approved the 2% and the 4% option, but everywhere else we have 8.3. It's a chronic illness rider that pays temporary claims, which is still somewhat unusual among chronic illness riders. Many of them require your impairment to be permanent. AIG will allow our rider to pay for temporary claims. You can go on claim, come off claim, and go back on claim again and continue accessing your death benefit as you need it. We have a maximum benefit of up to $3 million of chronic illness, and you can get twice that much in death benefit. So you could buy, for your high net worth client, they could get a $3 million chronic illness benefit with a $6 million death benefit. If they burn through the entire $3 million chronic illness benefit, there's still another $3 million of death benefit remaining totally income tax-free to their beneficiaries. So a powerful story here. And then I'll finish with talking about that longevity insurance rider. How does that work? The longevity rider was designed so that you could accelerate up to 10% of your death benefit each and every year until the entire policy is exhausted. The key to it is that if you want the entire benefit, you start your acceleration at age 85. It's designed for clients that are living longer than their normal life expectancy and they're running out of assets. Now, that doesn't mean you cannot access the benefit prior to 85. You can, but it works somewhat like Social Security. As you all know, if you take Social Security at your normal retirement age, you get 100% of your Social Security benefit. If you retire at age 62, you get a significantly reduced Social Security benefit. This is what happens with this particular rider. If you access your death benefit prior to age 85, you get a reduced benefit. Now, there will be no mystery about this. When your client buys this rider, there will be a page in their policy that tells them exactly what their benefit is at any age that they choose to begin acceleration. So there will be no surprises. Now, this particular rider is not necessarily a protected rider under the IRS code like a chronic illness or long-term care rider. So the distributions under this rider are treated like any other life insurance distribution. They're treated on a FIFO basis, first in, first out. So when we pay out the benefits under this longevity insurance rider, you'll get a tax-free return of all your premiums. Any death benefit you accelerate beyond that would be like a distribution from your IRA taxes, ordinary income. Now, there are only two requirements to make sure that this rider can be accelerated. First of all, the policy has to be enforced for at least 15 years before you start accelerating. And you can see how that makes sense. You couldn't buy $1 million policy today and we'll start sending you checks for $100,000 a year starting tomorrow. You can see why an insurance company cannot price for that. So the policy has to be enforced for at least 15 years before accelerating the benefit begins. And secondly, at the time you want to accelerate the benefit, the policy at that point must be guaranteed and paid up to age 100 with no additional premiums. So, for example, if you want to accelerate your death benefit at age 85, instead of running a pay to 100, you run an illustration that was a guarantee to 100, but a pay to 85, so that it's guaranteed paid up at age 85. If your client wants to start accessing their benefit at age 70, you would need to run an illustration for a pay to 70, guarantee to 100, in order to make that work. And you can see the logic behind that as well. Once a policy is paid up and guaranteed to age 100 with no further premiums, AIG knows we have a very high likelihood that we're going to pay a death claim. The only question then is, what does it cost to pay it out early? And that's what drives the cost of the rider. And you can see the cost of the rider simply by running your illustrations and see what that additional cost would be. But the key to this longevity insurance rider is that this gives you the ability to never need to guarantee your death benefit beyond age 100 again. Because if you fund the policy correctly so that it's paid up at least by age 85 or at the very latest at age 90, your client can accelerate their death benefit and put their entire death benefit in their checking account before they ever get to age 100. They already have their entire death benefit, so there's no need to guarantee death benefits beyond 100. So you can get rid of the risk you've been facing when you said to yourself, gosh, if I only guarantee this to 95 or 100, what happens if my client lives longer than that? They paid all those premiums and their policy's going to lapse. You're right, it's an enormous risk. However, with this product, with this rider, you would be able to guarantee this product to age 100 And you can guarantee your client the ability to put their entire death benefit in their checking account by the time they're 95. They will already have their entire death benefit. They will not need the policy anymore. You will not have needed to guarantee the policy beyond age 100. So it's a very powerful story, and it gives your client the ability to access that death benefit. It'll be there for their family if they die prior to retirement. It'll be there for them if they get sick during retirement. It will be there for them if they are healthy during their retirement and live longer than they ever expected. And this is the only policy that can do this. And that's what changes life insurance from an expense into an asset, because the client, for the first time in their life, realizes that they, the insured, can spend their own death benefits while they're still alive. That is a game changer. So with that as a summary of what this looks like, I'd like to see if anybody has any questions. If there's more information you'd like to get about this product or strategy, you can go out to retirestronger.com. We have all kinds of resources available there. And of course, you have all kinds of resources available through Levinson and Associates. So I would encourage you to reach out to them if you have any questions about what we talked about today. And I look forward to the results that you can create by showing your clients how life insurance is now an asset, and to see their reaction when you tell them that for the first time in the history of the life insurance industry, if you don't die early, you can put your entire death benefit in your checking account and spend it on virtually anything you want while you're still alive. If you want to know how, we should talk. Awesome. As we gear up for the presentation that we're going to do at the Expo, I'll just whet your appetite for that. When we get to the Expo, I'm going to show you something equally compelling where we look at how you can turn $6 a day into over $700,000 of tax-free retirement income. Again, it's a plug for the Expo. That's what I'll be talking about when we get there. It'll be an exciting story. $6 a day becomes $700,000 of tax-free retirement cash flow. I look forward to the Expo, and I look forward to seeing you all when we get there. I'll turn it back over to the team at Levinson Associates with my gratitude for the opportunity to tell the story today. Thanks, guys.
Great stuff, Joe. That was incredible. And now I hope everyone can understand why the excitement on our end. I keep making these promises, but now you see the proof is in the pudding, and Joe is spectacular when it comes to life insurance training. So this was just a little taste. Like I said, number 1 of 3 trainings that Joe has dedicated to Levinson agents. So this is great, great stuff. Make sure you're on number 2, the day after Valentine's Day, and then number 3, he will be at our Expo. So make sure you're on and make sure you're there, especially at our Expo Live. But don't miss these webinars. And when I say I promise you, I stand behind those promises. And now you can see exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so once again, thank you, Joe Ross. Spectacular job. We're going to send out an email to all attendees and include some of these brochures. And if you're with us with AIG, great. If you happen to not be with us with AIG, that's also no problem. You know, we have our cash for contracting incentive. If you transfer over to us, we'll match or beat, and most times we'll beat your existing commission. Plus, you can get up to $500 cash for your new applications when you make the transfer. So that's a win-win, a no-brainer. We'll include everything in today's email, okay? So Joe's going to talk about some of our upcoming agent training events. We have just 2 more slides, then we'll announce the tablet winners. We're going to end right before 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So upcoming, of course, every week we have training on that Agency Automator CRM platform every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And just beneath that, we have a separate platform called Agency Automator Plus, which is the exact same system, but instead of marketing to prospects and potential clients, you're actually marketing to active licensed agents in your state or across the country to help build your agency and grow your downline. That training is every Monday and Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And like I had mentioned earlier in the call, special year-end lead programs. We're actually having that webinar December 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So you can register. You'll see an email coming out. You can also register right from the homepage at CarrieLevinson.com.
Okay, good stuff. So the expo that we've been talking about for the last hour, here it is, right down this date. It is April 27th, 2018. Okay, this is free for all Levinson agents to attend. We bring in breakfast, snacks, lunch. We have some great keynote speakers. We're going to talk about our new IUL software and seminar program, our new lead programs. Joe Ross will be there. It will be a day you do not want to miss. And I'm going to promise again for the fourth time, I promise and put my words behind my mouth. Make sure you're there. April 27th, 2018. Okay, now also what we do real quick, you can qualify, okay, so yes, the expo is free for all active Levinson agents, but you can also qualify starting at just $15,000 of premium, okay, and that goes for any life insurance, long-term care, annuity premium, starting at $15,000. We pay for your room at our beachfront resort at the expo, so a great time to get out of the north in the snow, come down to South Florida on us, and then starting at $40,000, Joe, if you can just back up for 1 second, starting at $40,000, we will pay for round-trip airfare, okay, to come in to our beachfront resort from anywhere in the country, okay, and then at $50,000, we pay for the entire weekend plus round-trip airfare from anywhere in the country. So make sure you get that premium in, even if you're writing, say, long-term care or annuities with another competitor, write some of that business here, qualify for the two different brackets, and we will literally pay for you and your spouse for the whole weekend if you hit that number. So, and again, if you're brand new with us, you haven't written anything, we pay for everything. It's free. We pay for meals and everything else involved. You just need to get here. Okay, so please, April 27th, a day you do not want to forget. Okay, second to the last slide here, we'll announce the 2 tablet winners. Now, we had a record number of attendees on today's call, so I want to thank everyone for that. We will literally put our agents up against any IMO. We have the best agents out there, especially holiday season, lots going on, and you're spending a Thursday afternoon with us, okay? Ultimate feather in our cap. Number 250 and 350th registrants for today's webinar, and the tablet winners is, first one is M. Lant, that's M. Lant. The second one is L. Falstitch, that's L. Falstitch. Congratulations. We're going to mail these out this week, so you'll have them next week right before the big holidays. Also, we're going to end with this. Like I said in the beginning of the presentation, you know, I don't care if it has to do with religion, if it has to do with any kind of motivation. It's so important to keep your head in the right place. Okay, I'm reading this new book now called The 5-Second Rule, and it talks all about, you know, let's say your personal life or your business life, and, you know, how if you have this idea or you're procrastinating, that you need to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and make the decision right then and there, or write down the idea so you don't forget it. Okay, that is a book, or if you want to listen to the audio version, I recommend. I think it's perfect for our industry. We all put things off. We all procrastinate. I think that is a no-brainer. The point I'm trying to make, though, if it has to do, I look at it like kind of putting gas in the car, right? So we have our bodies and we must be healthy. We have to maintain ourselves and make sure our head is in the right place when we're picking up the phone to make a sale or when we're meeting somebody at the local Starbucks. If you're not in the right place, I don't care how many designations you have, you're not going to make the sale. No one wants to be around you. You heard Joe Ross speak today, okay? That guy is on fire. You can feel the energy come across through the phone, okay? He fuels his system. If it's motivation, continuing education is how I look at it. If it's a book, if it's listening to a Joe Ross training webinar, if it's hearing a Tony Robbins keynote speech, whatever it is, just make sure you constantly keep that fuel tank full, because you're not going to be in the right place, I promise you. You got a lot of holiday stuff going on right now, New Year's coming up. You want to start 2018 off in the right place. I'm going to end with this. Rough roads are the secret to success. The more bumps along the way, the better off we are, they say. That's our Positive Tuesday quote. You can see those on our Levinson Facebook page. With that said, have a wonderful rest of the day, a great week, a good weekend, and great selling. Take care.